Hey, so I recently added document generation to CarouselBot, and I thought it would be interesting to see how that feature in CarouselBot stacks up to Gamma's document feature, which, if you're not familiar with it, Gamma is an AI-powered tool, very well known, and its sweet spot is presentation development, but it has also added a document generation feature. And I am just really curious to see how Gamma and CarouselBot compare, and if there is anything I can learn in terms of what CarouselBot could do better, or anything that I should be promoting out there in the world if it in fact does anything better than Gamma. Hey, so I am here inside Gamma, and I am going to go ahead and make a document with Gamma's AI feature. So we're going to go ahead and create new. I am going to import URL. So it's a web page. So here we go. This is just a link to one of my recent Substack articles. So we're going to import. And okay, so I am building a document. We're going to go ahead and say continue. Okay, and so now I am looking at this, and I'm going to go ahead and, all right, we've got Nano Banana Mini here. That is a nice, let's see, I think I'll go for illustration. And okay, so there are some things to prompt here. Format, document default, let me take a look. Okay, what are the options? I'm going to go with US letter for PDF export. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and generate, and we will see what we see. All right, cool. I see we've got a little message down here at the bottom, but what I'm going to do is scroll back and take a look at these pages. Some of these pages look really kind of excessively long. It's actually an artifact of the preview, so I'm really curious to see how this might look in a PDF. It does look like it is pulling in some stuff from metadata, so I think that is actually an interesting feature. And so let me go ahead and take a look. And where export? Okay. Export. Here we go. We're going to export this guy to PDF and then take a look. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and just open up this PDF on screen. And all right, so I think so this is our cover image. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So we've got a cover here. And all right, we've got this page. We do have the Gamma watermark, which is a little obnoxious, but I know why they're doing it. I need to make CarouselBot's watermark a little more obnoxious. Okay, so we're looking at this. You see some really kind of different sizing. I feel like the font is a little tiny. This is not super readable in some pages. Like this one here. That's really weird. And I think the same thing here. Yeah, I'm gonna say, okay, this is a nice looking page. I think that turned out well, but yeah, I'm gonna give this like a B in terms of execution, and then we'll be able to kind of show you in contrast how CarouselBot compares. Hey, this is Karen, and now we're heading over to CarouselBot. Let's see, the interface is fairly similar to what you'll see in Gamma, but it is definitely stripped down. Are fewer decisions to make, and so we have these templates up here that we can use. I'm going to choose this dark editorial template because it is the closest one that I have to the Gamma example. And otherwise, I'm just going to leave my branding up here, and we are going to, let's see if we want to pick a brand color. I will go ahead and we'll pick this more of this default color here from the template. Now I'm going to just paste a URL, and it says it has loaded the content, and I'm looking down here, so we can change the sidebar. We can also choose an option for imagery. Again, I think I'll just go with digital illustration, keep it simple, and now we will just choose generate. And I think this is a little different in terms of this is showing you just kind of a modal explaining the steps. Gamma kind of showed you the line by line generation with an AI little icon. I think either of these is fine. As this continues to generate, you'll see an overlay, and then in the background there will be a image of the layout. And I think in terms of time, it took Gamma maybe 3 minutes or so. I think it will take roughly the same amount of time in CarouselBot, maybe slightly less, but we'll see. So right here, you can see we have some pages coming into focus. And as we scroll up here, we'll see that we have AI imagery being generated. So we've already placed the copy, and now in the background, the AI is determining where it makes sense to drop in a few images. All right, so here we go. I am going to scroll down, and we're going to take a look just at the overall page layout. I think this is actually looking pretty good, and here we can we'll just kind of scroll through here. So all right, that was a very sort of classic looking desktop, and we have my branding down there in the footer, and all right, we've got all this. Let me take a look back here. Let's see. All right, I probably would have handled the alignment here. I feel like that could be a little bit better, but we'll keep going. And this one, I would want to go in and let's make this overlay a little more aggressive so this copy is more readable. And here we go. Again, we'll do the same thing with this pull quote page, is we'll have a little bit more of an overlay. And yeah, so we have our final page. And again, I feel like this is looking really clean. I'm going to actually say that I prefer this look and feel a little bit more than what we saw out of Gamma. But I think there is also a certain amount of different preferences for different people. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to see how this holds up under export. So let's see what this really looks like in the PDF. So I am exporting a standard PDF. There's also a version in here that is optimized to look decent in LinkedIn's previewer, which really applies a whole ton of compression. All right, so we're going to open up this guy and let's see what we have. All right, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can see this more clearly. We'll zoom it in, so we want to have a real kind of apples to apples comparison to Gamma. So I think this is actually, I think the layout here is looking pretty good. And we're going through, I think everything is readable, everything is true to the preview that we saw before, which I think is important. And so we'll go ahead and yeah, I think that looks pretty good. We'll kind of keep going through. Want to make sure that overlay looks reasonable. Come on. All right, so yeah, I probably would go and make that overlay even a little bit darker, but as we go through here, again, this is looking very, very true to the preview and a nice, clean, readable format. And I think one difference is CarouselBot doesn't give you a choice in terms of the AI is going to edit your copy down. I think Gamma did try to preserve all of my copy word for word in the settings I used there, so that is something to keep in mind as well. But anyway, I think CarouselBot has held up pretty well, and we will have a document versus document comparison next. Hey, this is Karen, and we're going to show these PDFs right next to each other. So the left is CarouselBot and the right is Gamma. So here we have the two covers. And I think with the CarouselBot cover, I might have regenerated the image to have a little bit more of showing chaotic screenshots versus this more of like neater office setting. But I think in terms of composition, I kind of like CarouselBot quite a bit better. So now let's kind of cruise through. So we have kind of the intro to a chapter, and again, kind of a different approach here. This has definitely taken all of the copy pretty literally. We have done some condensing here in CarouselBot. So I'm going to scroll through a few more, and here we'll scroll through a few more. I think what it's doing is, again, it didn't generate images. I think I was probably out of credits. So this is some imagery that was taken from metadata. And so we'll scroll through here a bit. And again, we'll kind of continue with the CarouselBot experience, where again, it was designed to really put a premium on a lot of white space, a lot of clarity, being easy to read, and not too much content on one page. And so we'll keep going through here. And again, I think this was good. We have an appropriate emoji, and we'll just kind of keep going through. Again, I think very different approaches to the design and the content. I will probably run Gamma one more time and have it condense the copy to see if we get a better result. Anyway, that's it. I think, though, I'm going to say CarouselBot for the win for this comparison. Thanks so much. Hey, well, I did end up running the Gamma ebook a second time. This time I had it condense the copy to see if I would get a very different result. And anyway, let me just kind of roll through and show have. This is in their interface, but I think it is a little better. We have less of the, I was going to say less of the crowding, and I think less of the teeny tiny fonts. So I think this is definitely better. I still, however, just cruising over here, I think I still prefer the CarouselBot approach, and perhaps not everybody will prefer this approach, but I think it is definitely a very viable and legitimate alternative to Gamma. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very much, and hope you have a wonderful day.